I've been working on my quilting for a couple days now with my Pinwheel Frenzy, and it took me a good, I would say, 2 days to walk around and look at it, try to figure out what I was going to do, and then I couldn't decide what color thread, so I ended up with a polyester clear smoke thread, which is that monofilament clear it comes. It's actually, I always called it Monopoly thread because it's mono for monofilament, polyester fiber. It's a single strand clear, but I'm using this smoke because the majority of the quilting I'm going to do is on black, and they say that smoke doesn't reflect as much because it's a filament, you know, and there's light that bounces off it. You could see it sometimes when it's the clear, but the smoke is not supposed to reflect so much. So I'm using smoke. I'm using a Superior So Fine thread in the bobbin. That's what was recommended. I found some lady on the internet, and I wish I knew who she was because I would just love to kiss her because it's made my job so easy. She recommends dropping your tension on the top to a lower about 3. I have it at 325. And then on the bobbin, instead of in a Bernina, it's at 220. I have it at 180 or 190, and it really feeds it through. And I am using a 100 needle, and it works beautifully. So I've actually figured out my pattern. I'm going to show it to you. I'll do a little quick quilting, but it's really about the thread, I think, that sometimes makes it. And I think this smoke clear is looking pretty cool. So let's go look. A quick comment about using this monopoly thread. You really need to use the netting around it because it is so fine and so thin and so difficult to see that it will easily get tangled. So anyway, let's go down and look. So I've kind of worked on it, and what I had decided to do is in the pinwheels, we had used those trapezoids. Well, with the cornerstones and everything, some of it blacks out. So I decided to make squares around the pinwheel. Since it's Pinwheel Frenzy, I thought I would highlight those. And I've done 5 rows of lines equally spaced around each of the blocks, both the black and the white ones. In the middle, I have not quilted the floral fabric anywhere. The only thing I'm quilting is the black and the white. I've left the floral because I want it to pop and come up off the surface and have you really see the color. But basically, inside the pinwheel, I just did 3 stripes here. And of course, I've surrounded them so that they're all seamed. And then this, I've just done a simple free motion curve, a 3-pointed curve on it, and that's it. I've outlined these 5 stitches, rows of stitches. And then on this, I've actually just X'd it out. I repeated the pinwheel pattern in these cornerstones, and I have free motioned the other spaces. So there's no quilting on the florals. There's free motion quilting on the parts that aren't part of the square that go around the pinwheel, and none of the flowers are quilted. I don't know if you can see it, but as we talked about, there are the black blocks that we did, and there are the white blocks that we did, and I'm treating them exactly the same. I am squaring off around them, and when I do the white one, I'm coming this way, going this way around, even though it's black, and I'm continuing my stripe. So I end up with a box design here where the blocks meet. I'm actually lining it up with the line that was up here that I've squared off here, and I'm going to come down this way. And I am using a 1/4 of an inch space, plus there's a 1/4 of an inch here, so they're going to be a 1/2 inch apart, all of the stripes. And I'm just going to simply sew down. And I will continue all the way to the next section to here because I'm squaring them off and I'm making boxes around the pinwheels. And I'm sewing all the way up in this case through the white one because I have a square here. And I'm going to go back around and do this. And then when I come to this side, we'll square off the other. But the white has been squared off. So I will just actually follow the line across a little to the next row that I made on the previous one, line it up, and come down. And again, I'm using the marker, 1/2-inch marker here for each subsequent row. And just move it along as I go. And if you remember, I started there, so I'm going to go ahead and just match this back up with that other line. So I've already got 2 done, and I'll just move over again and give myself that 1/2-inch line. And I'll mark it up with the last seam line, and I'll go up this way. A little thread there, and just line it up. And that's how easy it is, and I'll just go around and around the 5 times until I'm done. And then when I'm finished, I will come over to here, and I'm going to border each of these. And again, surround it. And one more. And then I'm going to just do a simple loop on the black. And I'm going to come up with the white here, onto the white, and just do 3 simple stripes. I don't know if you can see it, but it's there. And do a 3rd. And I'm just eyeballing it. And I come here, and then I'll do the loop on the black again. And then come up with the... Let me just turn it around so you can see it better. And just gently come across. Come back up. Move it over, come down. Gently stitch across and come back up for the last time. And then I'll start my black again. And as you can see, it's really not an exact science. I'm just really giving it a little style. I'm not going crazy. I just want to be able to accentuate it just a little bit. Come back up on the black. Go down on the white. Come across just a little. Come back up. Back down. And then I will do the loops again on the black. Come up here. Let's go this way. And come across a little. Come back up. Come down. Come across a little more. Do the last one. I do 3. I'm not really crazy about them getting, you know, just stylized. And then that's the block. And then all I'm going to do is when I move over to the next one here is I'm going to stipple these areas, and I'm going to just do a pinwheel design in here. And that's all the quilting. It's fairly simple. It's a matter of using the ruler and being patient. Finished quilting it, and I've taken it off the quilt rack, and I've gone ahead and serged the edges. I don't know if you've ever done that on your quilt, but I do it on all of them before I bind them because I found it so much easier to bind it once the edges have been serged. But anyway, this is the way it looks. And you can see the squares I made going around. And then on the other blocks, any place where there was the trapezoids, I made squares. And in the spacing in between, I just did some stippling. And again, I repeated that pinwheel design that's on here, you know, just the 8 quadrants, if you will, the 8 pieces. And it's kind of hard to see the whole thing because it is so big. But I'm going to go ahead and bind it now. I'm going to need 10 width of fabrics to bind it. And then I will go ahead. I have a queen size bed downstairs. I will go ahead and put it on there and we can take another look. I like the way those corners meet when the squares meet. It's just really kind of cool, I think. Obviously, I haven't cleaned it up. There's a lot of lint on it, but that will be my last step to snip all the loose threads. So behind me is the finished quilt. I have finished binding it. I did it in the black, the same exact color as the sides, so that they would, you know, just fade off to the sides. I'm pretty pleased with it. If you'd like to make it, it will be in the May 2024 issue of American Quilter. And if you are a member of the American Quilt Society, you automatically get the magazine. If not, find a back issue. If not, when I get a chance, I'm going to post a copy of the pattern on my Etsy site, Fontana Originals, which would be available for purchase. In the meantime, please check out my Etsy site for all the patterns and quilts that I sell, and please subscribe to me on YouTube. Again, thank you for watching, and happy quilting.